Ooh, hello. I have been doing YouTube videos now since July and I've never done a BookTube Newbie Tag, so that's what we're doing today. But I'm also going to sit here and do my makeup while I chat you through my answers to these questions. I'm not sure why I've never done this tag before, but let's just jump in because I actually don't know what the questions are, so this will be fun to discover together. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? And that is pretty easy for me in that I started this channel because I had been doing book talk for a few months. I started doing book talk in April of this year and it was so much fun, and I've never had any book related social media before. I'm not even that into social media in general, but I've always watched TikTok and always watched BookTok and BookTube, but I've never made anything myself. And then when I decided to start doing BookTok, it was so much fun. But after I found my feet a little bit, I realized that the videos I like making the most were the ones where I was sitting down and just talking to the camera. I feel like there's a lot of different ways that you can make content on BookTok. There's people who do sketches, kind of funny sketches. There's people who do trending sounds and kind of BookTok news, and there's so many different ways you can kind of express yourself on BookTok. I love it because it's so fun and it's so creative. But I just found myself more and more really wanting to have longer videos where I could just sit down and talk to a camera and not worry as much about it being as quick and just like as snappy as a TikTok has to be, because a TikTok you do have limited time. Obviously lots of people do longer videos and you can post very long videos on there, up to 10 minutes now I think, but I just really wanted a platform where I could sit down and talk about books for a longer period of time without worrying so much about getting it all into a 3-minute video. I also really just wanted to start doing some longer vlogs as well, because I think TikTok vlogs are very fun, but they are still quite short. And my favorite type of content to watch is people doing reading vlogs, and I just absolutely love watching them. They are my favorite types of videos that my favorite creators on BookTube make. So I just wanted to start making them myself as well. And I just think overall, because TikTok and YouTube are something that I've watched for so long and never joined in with, I think it was just time that I really wanted to. And I think after joining TikTok and it going so well and being so much fun and such an added value to my life, I really wanted to start a BookTube channel, which is what I've done. Okay, and the next question is, what can you bring to BookTube, or what makes your channel different? To be honest, I don't think it is very different to a lot of other people's channels on here, and I don't especially want it to be very unique and different. I just want it to be mine. If you are new here and you haven't watched my channel before, then something you can expect is lots of reviews and recommendation videos. I love doing themed recommendation videos and bookshelf tours, showing off books that I have in my collection. And also, like I said, I love doing reading vlogs. And maybe this isn't something that's unique about my channel, but the thing that I try to create on this channel is a very cozy space and a very kind of calm and welcoming space, especially with my reading vlogs. I really like showing the little joys of life, like sitting on your sofa with a cup of tea and reading a good book, doing cooking and going on walks and finding books in charity shops, and kind of a bit of that slow living lifestyle as well. I really enjoy that, and that's kind of what I want to show throughout my vlogs and my videos in general. I also think that something that is slightly more unique maybe about me is that I have a very varied reading taste. I read from almost every single genre. There's not a genre that I would not read from. There are some that I like more than others, and you'll see probably a lot more fantasy and literary and classics and sci-fi on this channel more than others. For example, I don't love like crime thriller books, but I do read them occasionally. But I would honestly say that I read from almost every single genre, and I have favorite books in every single genre that I read from. Another thing you might enjoy if you do follow me is that I do a reading around the world challenge. So I do that over on TikTok mainly, where I make those videos, but I obviously talk about it a lot on this BookTube channel as well. And basically that challenge is where I'm trying to read a book from every single country around the world, and that's why I have this scratch off map behind me. You can kind of see some of the progress, although it is so dark here today. It is like the stormiest, rainiest day in London. So even though it's like 1 p.m, like I've got all the lights on in here and it's just absolutely miserable outside. Although I say miserable, I absolutely love rainy weather. So basically my reading around the world challenge is where I'm trying to read a book from every single country in the world. The vague rules are that I have to read a book where the author is from that country and then also the book is based in that country, because I do want to learn something about that country as well as reading from diverse authors. It has been the most fun challenge in the world. I've absolutely loved doing it, and I have read some of my favourite books because of that challenge. And if you're interested, I am planning a end of the year video where I'm going to wrap up everything that I've done so far for that challenge and kind of do a little bit of a league table. And I guess other things that you can expect on this channel are that I love makeup, even when I'm doing it badly. I love hanging out with my cat. I like going out with my friends, and all of these things and more are included in my reading vlogs. So the next question is, why do I love reading? And I just sat here and tried to think about that answer for a second, because I'm finding it very, very difficult to think of an answer of why I love reading, even though I love it so much. Because I've always been a reader. Reading is such a part of my life and a part of my day that I can't imagine my life without reading, if that makes any sense. It's just something that I have always done and will always do. I've been a reader since I was a child and I've always absolutely loved reading. I guess what it comes down to is that reading to me is just my primary way of relaxing and getting entertainment. Like, I'm not very good at watching TV and movies. I do watch TV and movies, obviously. I'm not like insane, but to me, sitting down with a book is so much more. That's like my version of like when I'm trying to relax or when I want to have fun. I will sit down and read a book. And kind of slightly related to that is that I find it kind of difficult sometimes to sit and watch TV shows and movies. I'm very, very easily distracted when I'm watching something like a video. Like, I have to be doing two things at once. Whereas I find it so much easier to sit down and relax and just focus on one thing if I'm reading a book. Whereas if I'm trying to watch a long movie, like, I find it so difficult to sit down and watch a 3-hour movie. Like, something about it being processed in my brain, I just find it much, much more difficult to sit down and relax and enjoy a movie. And the same with lots of longer TV shows, like very cinematic, long, complicated TV shows. Like, honestly, never come to me for recommendations for movies and TV shows, because they are always short and usually comedies and usually just funny and quick fire, because for some reason I just do not have the patience to sit down and watch actual good movies and TV shows. So the next question is, what are your favorite books? And that is just such a difficult question. And since I've started making book videos as well, I've avoided making a video trying to pin down my favorite books, because I find this question so impossible. I think part of it is because I do read from many different genres. So picking a favourite among all of the genres, it's so hard to compare and contrast. So to make this easier for myself, I'm literally just going to rattle off a few that's from the top of my head without going into them. Okay, I've just picked a random selection off my shelves to go through with you, because I can't think about it too much because it's too stressful. One that I couldn't be bothered to get down because it's all the way at the top is Emma, Jane Austen. That's a favourite. I also have The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro, a favourite of mine. I've got a more recent favourite, This One Sky Day, which is, look at this copy. It's also called Puppy Show, I think, in the US edition. I absolutely love this. It's a wonderful magical realism story. For fantasy, one of my favourites, The Name of the Wind. I also want to reread this again. I've read it 3 times, but it's been a couple of years and I want to reread it again. For a non-fiction favourite and something that has changed my life and my outlook, and I think it should be essential reading for everyone, is Braiding Sweetgrass. It's an absolutely amazing, amazing book, all about nature and indigenous wisdom, spirituality and science, and it's life-changing. Read this book if you're interested in non-fiction. Even if you're not, just read this book. A couple I've already talked about a little bit on this channel when I did a short book recommendations video. 2 of my favourites are I Have Never Known Men, which is a short and harrowing kind of dystopian read, and also a sci-fi, which is This Is How You Lose the Time War, which is a sci-fi romance with beautiful lyrical writing. And another one of my all-time favourites, my favourite Shakespeare play, is Much Ado About Nothing. And another 5-star book that I'm still debating whether goes into my favourites or not is East of Eden by John Steinbeck, which I read earlier this year. That is literally just a random selection of the ones that I could be bothered to pull off my shelves, because that is not all of them, but it kind of gives you a little taste of my taste. So if you like any of those books, please let me know down below, because we can be best friends. And if you hate these books, then you can also tell me that below. I don't mind. I don't get offended when people don't like my favourite books. Okay, so the next question is, what BookTube challenge is my favourite and which will be the hardest to overcome? I'm not entirely sure I understand the question, so if I'm answering this wrong, please tell me below. But a challenge about BookTube that I think is my favourite is, well, it's 2 things. One thing is I'm trying to do posting a video twice a week. I do one in the middle of the week and then one on a Saturday or a Sunday. And although that is a challenge of having a BookTube channel. I'm actually loving it for the accountability of forcing myself to be creative and telling myself I have to post 2 videos every week. And another BookTube challenge that I think is going to be my favourite is going to be the end of year kind of videos, or the beginning of the next year videos, where you have to put together everything that you read and everything that you loved from last year, your favourite books, your least favourite books, all those kind of videos. I love watching them. I've obviously never done one before and can't wait for that like era of my BookTube where I have to kind of make these lists and decide what's my favourite and my least favourite, and also see what everyone else has read, because it's my favourite time of year. It's the best time for content, is the end of the year and the beginning of the year. Next question is, when did I start reading? And I've already kind of answered that. I've always been a reader. My mum always read to me and I was always a reader. I think like lots of people, I stopped reading as much maybe when I was like a late teen, although no, I didn't really. I carried on reading all throughout university as well. I would say my first couple of years of university was where I was reading much less than usual. I only read about 30 books in a year those few years, and now I read much closer to 150 or more than that. So I think maybe that's when I kind of got back into it after university, with reading a lot more, which is what I used to do. Used to read so much over the summer, just like absolutely binging series or doing rereads of my favourite series. The next question is, where do I read? Mainly in my house. I read on my sofa and I read before bed. And then the next question is, what are my favourite genres? I've also kind of covered this accidentally. I should have read these questions before I started answering them. But my favourite genres are literary, classics, sci-fi, fantasy. I also really like romance and non-fiction, but I wouldn't say they're my favourite genres. I don't read as much in those genres as the other ones. And I think the final question, or at least the final question on this list, is, what does my book collection look like? So now that I have almost finished my makeup, I will show it to you, although it's slightly got holes in it now because I've just pulled a few books off. Well, I can show you up here first. This behind me, okay, ignore the that is my toilet roll. Do you want to sponsor me? Who gives a crap? Because I love you. I actually genuinely use Who Gives a Crap all the time. So I can talk about these ones behind me. This up here is my TBR, and then this is, it used to be my favourite shelf, it's not really anymore, and this is my Reading Around the World Book Club stack, which is so much fun. The sun is finally coming out now. Oh, just as I'm finishing filming this video, the sun is coming out. Could have had glorious lighting for the whole video. Anyway, let me know if you like the little get ready with me videos as well, or if you want, you know, less getting ready with me or more getting ready with me. Like, I could actually show you the products that I'm using. This is a Charlotte Tilbury blush that I'm using right now. Also, I get if you don't care about a get ready with me and you just want me to talk about books instead, I completely get that too. So while I'm just finishing off my makeup, I want to ask you a question, because I would really love to know who your favourite booktubers are. I would say the top 3 bigger YouTubers that I watch are Ali from Alison Pages, who I absolutely adore. She does the most amazing cozy videos. Her reading vlogs are literally next level. I love Peru's project, Regan. She's just an inspiration, and I would just love my videos to give off even a tiny ounce of the feeling that her videos give me. So I absolutely love Regan. I also love Emmie from Emmie Reads. She does amazing content and she has the most diverse reading taste ever. And then 2 of my favourite smaller booktubers are Jahaan from Ticky's Books. She is just an absolute delight. I love Jahaan so much. We made friends through TikTok and she does the funniest videos. She just has this real natural humour to her and she just literally makes me laugh with everything she says. So go and follow her. And if you also want a cute and cozy time, then go and follow Renette from Renette Reads. She does great reviews and vlogs and I love watching her. She's so cozy. So to finish off, maybe I will show you my bookshelf. If you've not seen them before, I do have a bookshelf tour up on my page if you do want a more detailed tour of everything I've got. And I've also got a separate video where I go through every single book that's on my TBR. I have not yet shown you the books that I have downstairs, and I don't really want to because they're kind of a mess. But let me now show you some of the main books on my shelf here. Okay, so here is a rough scan of most of my books. They kind of come all the way down. Up the top we have classics, and then it's more general fiction. We've got a lot of Reading Around the World ones over here. And then this is my fantasy shelf, which continues on up here, and that's my sci-fi shelf and my romance books. And then over here, which I already kind of showed you behind me, is my TBR. And up here is my non-fiction. And then up here we have some book club books that I've read and my current TBR. So that is everything from me today. Thank you so much for watching this BookTube Newbie Tag. I hope you don't mind that I started making videos in July and I've only just got around to making this tag now. But also let me know if I missed any questions, because I saw a few different tags floating around, so I feel like I might have missed some. But I'm very happy to answer them in the comments if you do have any. And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe, because that would make me so happy. It means the world to me. So that is all from me today, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.